everyone. In this tutorial we're going to model a Sacred Merkaba, which has been a famous symbol of ancient spirituality and mysticism for thousands of years. In geometry it's often referred to as a Stellated Octahedron or sometimes a Star Tetrahedron. This will be a companion video to the previous 3ds Max tutorial I did of this object, and we will attempt to translate the strategies that I used in that video over to the Blender workflow. Alright, so let's begin here. I'm in Blender. I have an empty scene here, as you can see. I'm using Blender 2.76, and I have a few standard add-ons enabled already in my preferences here. The only add-ons that you're going to need enabled to follow along to this video are your Loop Tools add-on and the Extra Objects add-on. Alright, you can find them in the Add-ons tab of your user preferences under the Add Mesh and Mesh categories respectively. Alright, just make sure they're ticked on. I'm also using the Pi menu interface and the Dynamic Spacebar Menu for this demonstration, but they are not necessary to follow along. Alright, I'll do my best to narrate all of the hotkeys and techniques that I'll use along the way here. Alright, so with that said, the first step is to go ahead and we'll go to Add Mesh, and we'll find our Math function drop down, and we'll add a regular solid. Alright, now this is available with the Extra Objects add-on. Alright, now over here, as soon as you drop that object in, over here on the left hand side, where it says source, you'll see it begins with a tetrahedron. Immediately we're going to go change that to octahedron. Alright, so the object now is going to look like this. Alright, I'll just zoom in here. Alright, so with this in the viewport, we'll go ahead and tab into our edit mode. Alright, and with our faces selected, alright, we're going to hold down Alt and tap P, and that'll initiate the poke tool. Alright, and that'll result in this topology, adding in these extra edges on each face. Alright, so now we'll switch over to our Vertex Mode and select one of the vertices in the center of one of those faces. Alright, and then holding down Shift, tap G on the keyboard to bring up your Select Similar panel, and choose Amount of Connecting Edges. Alright, and that should select all of the vertices in the central, the centroid points of each face. Okay. Alright, so now with that done, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and tap S for scale. Alright, and hold down Control, and then scale out until you reach about 3.0. Alright, and then left click to release. And over here in the on the left hand side under Vector, you can see that they're all set to 3.0, and that leaves you with this object. Okay, so you may have seen this object before. This is sometimes referred to as a Merkaba, but we're going to take it a step further and create a skeletal wireframe structure of this object, more or less. Okay, so what we're going to do from here with these points still selected, alright, we're going to hold down Control, and then down here in the panel where you have your some of your settings here, you'll see these three buttons. Go ahead and holding down Control, switch to the Edge mode, by clicking on the button. Now this won't work any other way but choosing the button down here in the icon. Alright, so holding Control, just click the icon and it will switch your selection over to these particular edges. Alright, but we want the other edges that are in between here, so holding Control again, I'll tap my I key on the keyboard and that will invert the selection. Alright, and these are actually the edges that we've intended to select. Alright, and now with these edges selected all around, we'll go ahead and tap X on the keyboard to delete, and we'll delete by dissolving the edges. So just select Dissolve Edges. Alright, and that'll leave us with this strange shape. Alright, so from here we'll switch to our face mode. Alright, and then we'll tap A on the keyboard to select all of the faces. Alright, and next step is going to hold down Alt on the keyboard and tap your E key, and that'll bring up your Extrude menu. Alright, and we're going to extrude by individual faces. Alright, and you can pull it out just a little bit here, and then click on the left mouse button to release that, and then we'll go immediately over here to the left hand side and we'll change our offset to negative 0.25 to be precise, and hit enter. Alright, so that gives us this result. Okay, now with these interior faces still selected, we'll go ahead and just tap X and Faces to delete those faces from the scene. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to flatten all of these sides, alright, that contain these X-shaped faces. Alright, we want all of these X's on each side flat, perfectly flat. So one easy way to do that in Blender is to use the circle selection tool. Alright, so tap on the C. First of all, we'll get in position here. Rotate the object until one of these X-shaped faces or sides is facing you, and that the one directly behind it is also available, at least in the center point here. Alright, because the key is we'll use the circle tool to select directly in the center and grab all of these faces on both of these sides. Alright, so I'll show you what I mean. Tapping the C key to bring up the circle tool, I'll just left click on a central point here on that side, and it's selected all of those faces, as you can see. And then I want to also tap on the center point of the side behind it, directly behind it, and it will select that X-shaped group of faces as well. Now I'll right click to drop out of the circle tool because we cannot navigate the scene for some reason with the circle tool active, and that's just one limitation that I've come across. I often wanted to be able to tumble around while I still have the circle tool enabled, but we can't do that. So right click to drop it, to drop the tool, and then you could circle around to make sure you have the faces that you want selected, and it will be these two sides. Alright, now we'll go over here on the left hand side and scroll down until you see your Loop Tools menu option. Click it to drop down the tools available in Loop Tools, and with those two X sides selected, we'll go ahead and click the Flatten button. Alright, now you can see immediately what that's done. It's flattened these, it's planarized these selected faces. Okay, so we're going to do that to all the sides here. Alright, so tap the A key to deselect that previous selection. Tumble around until you have another group of faces that need to be flattened facing you in the same manner. Alright, then tap the C key, and then left click an area right in the middle of these faces to select all of them, and then do the same for the ones directly behind it. Alright, so now we could right click to drop the tool and just look around real quick to make sure we have only the faces we want selected, and then go over here to your loop tools once again and click on flatten. Alright, so now we've got those flattened out. Alright, so now we'll go to this next group of faces here. Alright, and we'll do the same thing. So deselect, tap your C key, select those faces and those faces, drop the tool, and then flatten again. Alright, and now you can tumble around and see that it's done a nice job of planarizing all of those sides for us. Alright, and now tap the A key to deselect. Alright, so we're almost there with this tutorial. So the next step is going to be in face mode. Go ahead and select all by tapping the A key. Alright, and then hold down Alt and tap on the E key again to bring up your extrude panel. Alright, but this time we're going to choose the region option. Now before you move your mouse, tap on the right mouse button to drop that tool, and you'll see that the parameters are over here on the left hand side. Okay, so we could do that. We could have done this one of two ways actually. Alright, but I prefer to do it this way for more control. So I've dropped the tool here, but we still have an extrude operator active, as you can see on the left hand side. The extrude region tool is still active, but it won't follow our mouse movements now, which is what we want. So immediately after selecting, right click and then go ahead and tap the S key for the scale option, and then hold down Control and just scale inward 1 or 2 clicks there until you reach 0.8, and then go ahead and left click to drop the tool. Alright, to drop that procedure, I mean. Alright, so as you can see now over here on the left hand side, we've scaled down uniformly to 0.8 on the vector XYZ. So 0.8 to the inside, and this way we're not affecting the size of the object that we've started with here. And that's only if you're intending to export this as an STL for 3D printing. You'd want to perhaps maintain the original diameter of the object. Alright, so we scaled them inwards, but we have a little bit of a problem here because that's gone and reversed our normals for us. So we're going to have to fix that real quick by tapping on A and then A again to select all the faces. Alright, now we're going to reverse our normals here. Hold down Control and tap N, and that's flipped our normals on the object. Now if we tap A to reveal the faces, you'll see that they're all, the normals are facing in the right direction again. And you can see that just by the shading, but you can be sure of that just by tapping on N to bring up the panel over here, and then you can scroll down to where you see normals and go ahead and display normals, face normals as lines, and you'll see that they're pointing in the right direction there. Okay. Alright, so I tapped N to get rid of our toolbar there. And so after you flip the normals, we're going to go ahead and select. We're going to hold down Alt on the keyboard, and we're going to select this interior region of faces. Alright, just that border interior region. And then we're going to hold down Shift and tap on the G key to bring up Select Similar, and we'll choose the perimeter option. Alright, to grab all of those border faces. Alright, so now that we have all this, we're going to do an inset. So tap the I key and just inset slightly. Let's see. I tap the right mouse button to release the tool from the mouse, and over here in the thickness value, we just want a slight inset for subdivision purposes. So I'm going to adjust the thickness a little bit here to 0.02. Alright, so it's just a very slight inset. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and deselect all, and we'll switch over to our edge mode. Alright, and I have by the way, I have my vertex, edge, and face modes hotkeyed, so if you don't see me going down here or selecting them from the menu, I'm just pressing the hotkeys for them to toggle back and forth between the different sub elements. Alright, I may show you how to set that in another video. Alright, but in the meantime, we're going to select one of these long edges here, and then Control E to bring up your edges menu, and then we'll go ahead to edge rings to select that entire ring, and then we'll Shift G to bring up select similar, and we'll select by length. Alright, so that's selected all of the long edges there. Alright, so what we want to do here is subdivide. Alright, just go up here in the your tools panel and find the subdivide button, and subdivide just one click with one cut. Alright, and it's given us these new edges along here. Alright, so tap A to deselect everything. Alright, now we'll go ahead and select one of these edges, these edge loops, and I just held down Alt while I selected one, and it went and selected the entire edge loop for me. Alright, now I'm going to hold down Shift and tap G again to bring up select similar, and I'm going to select by length again. Alright, but this time over here on the left hand side, we're going to bring the threshold value all the way down to 0. Alright, so it's only selected these edge loops. So it looks like we're missing something here, but that's okay. Bring it all the way down to 0, and then go Control E and choose edge loops again. Alright, so now we only have these central edge loops selected all around the object, which is what we want. Okay, and now we're going to do is Control B to bevel, and go ahead and just bring a bevel out a little bit, and then go ahead and left click to release the tool from the mouse. And then over here in the left hand panel, we're going to adjust our parameters a little bit for this bevel. Alright, now the amount type by default is set to offset. The first thing we want to do is change that to %. Okay, and then down here in the amount parameter, we're going to go ahead and type in a value. Okay, in this case, we want a value between anywhere from 95 to 96. Alright, then hit enter, and you can see what that's done here. Alright, it's beveled those out by percentage, and it's done a good job of it. Alright, so between 95 and 96 is the amount, and we could go ahead and tap A to deselect everything. And now we have some nice tight edge loops up here in the corners, and we'll use that for our subdivision. So tab out to object mode, and then go over here to your modifiers icon, and just choose the subdivision surface. Alright, and we'll go with the Catmull Clark, and I'll change the subdivision. I'll increase that to about 3. Now normally for if it's just going to be used as a digital object, I would go with 2 or 3. Should be good enough. Alright, you can see how smooth that has gotten, but yet we have some nice beveled corners here. Alright, but if I'm going to use this for a 3D print, export this for 3D printing, I'd want to increase that perhaps to even 4, alright, to get a nice smooth result there. Okay, and that's it. This is the object. I'm going to just apply a matte cap to finish it off, and that concludes this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video if you found it useful in any way, and subscribe to my channel for many more Blender and 3ds Max tutorials. Alright, I wish you a happy holiday and a happy new year, and I will see you again very soon with another tutorial. Thank you.